What are you guys doing out here?
Well, that's kind of a long story, too.
Can't be any stranger than mine.
Oh my God!
I am so excited to talk today to the cast of obviously Shaky Shivers and the director, Sung. So I'm so excited to talk to all three of you. This was absolutely a pleasure to watch. Actually, it reminded me of the 90s. I know it's set in the 90s, but it was something I really enjoyed. But to kind of get started, we're really excited, obviously, for Asian AAPI representation. But one of the things that I wanted to ask you, both Sung and VyVy, and then obviously Brooke, I'll toss you in. But I was so touched by your picture, VyVy, that you had actually met Sung at East West Players. And if people aren't familiar with that organization, an incredible AAPI organization, how surreal is it to now be working with someone that you met when you interned?
It was wild because when I was an intern there, I was still trying to figure out my life. I was in theater school at the time. I wanted to be an actor, and Sung happened. They were using the space at East West Players as like base camp for a film that he was doing. And, I sheepishly came up to him and was like, I'm a big fan. Can I have a photo? And he came and he did his thing. And I was like, oh, and I had this photo on my computer because it was back then, it was a digital phone and a digital camera. And yeah, years later, I got this script that showed up in my email, and I see it directed by Sung Kang. And already, like, I'm such a big fan of his from the Fast movies and from everything he's worked on. But like, I was like, okay, I really want to be a part of this, and I love the characters so much too. Their dynamic, their friendship, and so when it did work out and I found out I booked it, it just felt like full circle because this is my first time playing the lead in a feature film and he gets to direct me in it, and it just felt so it was so meaningful to me, and I'm really, really grateful. It was such a dream come true.
Absolutely. And Sung, obviously, you met VyVy before you started recording. What was it about these two with Brooke and VyVy? Like, these are two roles that really, because they're the premiere of the film, they're the main part. We see them a lot. What was it about these two actresses that you're like, I have to get them on film together?
Well, the casting was the most challenging part of this film. I knew that because of our limited resources, I would have to really lean on the actors, the leads. Without that working, we had no chance, and it was going to look like and feel like a, small, like no budget film, So unfortunately, Brooke came first because the producers had worked with her on a past project, and then, they presented her, and, Lucy was like a tailor-made suit for her. Like it's, like there's a lot of actors that can play parts, but I do believe like the right role that is memorable is like a tailored suit. And she came in and it was like, okay, we have our Lucy. So now now Karen should be pretty easy, but it was so hard. It just like the chemistry, you just know if it's gonna work or not. And you try to force it and you're gonna make a compromise. And I knew that if we started that way, we would have no chance because our foundation would be, sand, right? And eventually we would start sinking. And a friend of mine that went to UCLA Film School had done a short, I think it's a thesis project, like VyVy was in that. And I was describing that, like the struggle of finding our Karen. And he said, I have the perfect actress. And he sent the short over, and then we did a chemistry read with Brooke and VyVy. And within the first 20 seconds that this is it, and the rest of it was really up to them to bring those words into life. It's like a director's job is really, it's like if you can cast the best actors for the role, my job becomes very easy. And I always get asked, it's like, what kind of direction did you give them? I didn't really have to do anything. They are pros, they're professionals, they love and respect their craft, and my job became very easy. It's like, they created Lucy and Karen, right? So what's on paper, you can interpret it a certain way, and my interpretation might have been this, but they're the ones that, brought those characters to life. And you're right, Chris, that they are the center of the movie. They are the heartbeats, right? If they do not command your attention and that chemistry is not there, you're going to see all the defects in the movie, right? I don't know if you noticed, we had no ice cream in the ice cream shop, and it's because of them, right? So, yeah.
Brooke, I'm going to toss it to you next. One of the scenes in the film, obviously, that kind of kicks us off is you get cursed. That's kind of what sets off the whole film. Are you somebody in real life that curses kind of freak you out, or was this easy to do? You're like, nope, I'm not scared by curses. A puppet can bite me. I'm not even scared. Or was some of it a little creepy? You're like, oh, curses freak me out a little bit.
I don't think curses freak me out, but I definitely love like lore and like learning about like, different like I listen to a podcast like literally called Lore. So I love that kind of thing. And I do believe in curses and I believe in magic. I love to lean into that a bit. So it was fun for me.
There's a lot of magic in the film. You had like the trapper keeper of spells. One of my favorite scenes, and I'll throw it but to both you and VyVy. One of my favorite scenes is unfortunately VyVy obviously shoots somebody in the film, and the right side of his face, incredible makeup. He has a shot. I think it's Eric, and you guys bring him back to life by the tree and talk to him when he's dead. Tell me a little bit about how much fun it was with you two, and then obviously with Eric's character as well. Like, what was that like to just kind of film and so much comedy, so much fun scenes in the film?
Oh, it was so much fun. I mean, I think any day on set where Jimmy Bellinger was there, that man is so funny. Those are the days that like I definitely kept breaking, and he's his ability to like give a one-liner that just like has you laughing for like several takes is like amazing. Um, God, it was just so much fun. And the dynamic with, the script was so good and so grounded in its comedy that it allowed us to play within this like already beautifully constructed like world and structure. So it was so great. We were allowed to play and improv a lot, and some really great moments came out of that. It was fun.
Yeah, the song just create this environment where it was really safe to play and improv, and I think that just elevated what was already there, because this script is already so solid, and so we just got to like throw some sprinkles on there.
Yeah, and Sung, I want to throw it to you because one of the things besides like the comedy, I think both of you too had such good comedy dynamics. My favorite scene, one of them is Brooke, is when you're talking about that you won. I think like school council because you ran unopposed, and you and VyVy's comedian back and forth is great. But one of the other elements that I loved, and maybe you could speak on this song, is you had a master in the form of Gabriel Baltalis of doing the different costumes and FX. I mean, that really needed to sell it. What was like that to have him part of your directorial debut as part of this film?
Well, the script was really in honor of him. Aaron Strongoni and Andy McAllister had done a short documentary about Gabe Bartalis, and they just fell in love with, what he represented as an artist, as a filmmaker, right? I mean, his spirit, when you meet him in person, like, his energy is just infectious. And to have a mentor like that guide us and contribute, and to be able to celebrate practical makeup effects, that's something that is being replaced by technology today. And to be able to, give homage to these great artisans of the 70s and 80s and early 90s. And to have that in our film, right? It's like, I knew that if we did a bunch of CGI, visual effects, there was just going to be something that was insincere about the film, and it would almost like trying to take itself too seriously. But the practical effects lended to, especially the comedy and the world that we were building. I mean, it was tangible. You could touch it, and the actors didn't have to play off of, dots on their face or like a green screen. It's like it's in front of them, and it's on their face. They're able to go and sit in the makeup chair with Gabe, and then his energy is passed off to theirs, and this love affair for what he does, right? And then then it's our talent like bringing that to life. So I mean, to have someone like Gabe mentor you and to contribute like his years of knowledge on the film, it's like, what an honor, right? Like, I mean, it's humbling, Chris. Like, why would he work on this film with us? We paid him nothing, right? And I think, it's something that, it's a great lesson is that, when people feel that they are respected and appreciated, they'll, in our town, they'll go out of your way to help you, and I mean, without Gabe, these monsters would have looked really, really cheesy, you know what I mean? And so, we're so grateful to have him there watching over us, so, yeah.
Well, thank
You guys are so silly.